are wanting to partner with our community partners and see how we can discuss and share ideas, stories with other family, Mora families. Sorry. This is Diane, she'll take over.
We're very happy to be a part of this. We were talking to the staff, Herman, Isabel, and Mora, and Esther, about what we could do to help support your community during this time. Now I'm going to get emotional. We know the stuff that you guys have been through, and we just wanted to be here to support you all. If there's anything we can do, we have emergency loans, skip payments, even if you just want to talk to somebody about your situation while you're waiting for help, we are here to assist. And really what we wanted was just the thing that Mora is known for, which is community. And so if you know anybody in the area that wants to have lunch with us today, we're here and we'll all be here to help serve each other. So I just want to express my gratitude for such a wonderful community that pulls together. I don't see this everywhere in our other counties. So I just want you all to know that this is quite a special place and we want to support you in this time. If there's anything we can do or you want to talk privately, there's plenty of Guadalupe staff here. There's Rob and also the staff that's here. But even if you just want to call in later or email later because you want some privacy, we totally understand. And so we're here to help, and we'll be around until 2 o'clock. And so feel free to have lunch with us. And remember that people are the most important part of our lives. So, take care of each other, love each other, and if you need any help, ask each other. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, we have a list of community partners, which is Mora Community Health Services. Do I see it here? No? Collaborative Visions, right over here. Mora Creative Council, right there, other here. Economic Development Committee.
I represent.
We've got a multi-diverse section here. Help New Mexico, right here. All right. And Mora County Commissioner.
Veronica called and she says she's running a little late, but she'll be here in a
Okay.
little while.
Okay. All right. So feel free to have a seat. There's refreshments and Frito pies. You're more than welcome to come and jump in.
It's a free
Oh, I'm sorry, Red Cross. Red Cross. We love Red Cross. You guys have been very helpful. Thank you for your service. So feel free to eat, whether you're a volunteer or an attendee. Food is for everyone, and just share all the good things that you guys have to offer and what we can do to support each other. Thank you. And La Voz?
Yeah.
La Voz. Do you want me to?
Bueno, my name is Nancy Quintana. I represent La Voz de Mora, which is our local newspaper. And I am here because I think that the main partner of the community is the people. People should know what are the assistance available, who is the organizations that are able to help to the people, and what ideas have the organizations and the community here to move forward, because this is not finished yet. And people call me or talk with me, and they express their frustration and sadness about all this tragedy where we all are together. So if you can, you told about the loans for the people, we would like to know what other help there is for the people, because our reality is that many people lost homes, their properties are burned, and this is in a community that in the news said, oh, it's a poor county, but in reality, the people don't feel that poor because they have owned their own houses. They don't have debt for the houses. The reality now is that maybe they has to have debt because many of the houses don't have insurance. And FEMA, they offer a small business loan for the people. So it would be nice if we can find a way that the people don't have to have that kind of debt at this time of their life. If we can do something to help to build the houses with a grant, with the like this organization Humanity do, that the people can help to build the houses.
Habitat for
Yes,
Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity. So we need to find one way and know that the people don't have to suffer more. So it's not the losses of the houses, the burn of the trees that is one of the incomes of the people here, from here, like latillas, Christmas trees, the wood for heat your homes in winter, the hunting. So we are losing many, more than the houses, we are losing our happiness to see the view. It's very sad. So what ideas we can bring today? Thank you.
Yes, if any of our community partners want to talk about the services that they're offering, I think that would be very helpful, especially since you're recording this. If there's anyone from the community that couldn't make it today, they have an opportunity to hear. So this is Anita.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Anita Laran. I'm Executive Director for Collaborative Visions. I also represent today the Mora Economic Development Corporation. Our president wasn't able to be here, so he had asked me to represent. Right now, I know that we're in a crisis and we're reacting to the crisis. I'm the type of person that is proactive to the process. I like to think about what we're doing and how we're doing it so that we can be fair to everyone and to be able to help as many people as we can. When I was acting in a reactive mode, I started fundraising and I went out to the different shelters. I went to the different campgrounds where people were camping, and because they had their animals and they were trying to protect their animals and their livelihoods. And so we kind of did an assessment. So the fundraising that we did at that moment, we started distributing cash to people in the communities. A lot of people left without their medications. They didn't have access to transportation, and some of them were on special diets, and those concerns were shared with us, so we try to address those things. We were able to help over 400 people with the funds that we got. We gave each person $100, and then we also had gift cards for the pharmacies that we distributed. And then we are still continuing the fundraising. Right now we have distributed all the money that we have in our proactive mode. Now we're going back to the reactive. Kind of let's think about what we're doing. How are we going to serve the people that really need it? There's people here that lost their homes. There's people that have a lot of smoke damage. There's people that lost all of their food. In our community, people save during the fall season for they butcher their animals, they hunt, they do all of these things. And a lot of people rely on our forests for, like Nancy stated, wood and the trees, and for Christmas, the Christmas trees and all of that. It has affected our community, not only economically, but personally to some people, culturally. Our environment is not safe at this moment. We're concerned about the water quality with all the retardants that were let out and stuff like that. I also sit on the board for the Water Association in my community. A lot of our systems, because they didn't have any electricity, were drained. Now they're having problems with contamination, and they're having problems with motors and their pumps and stuff. some of these little associations don't have the funding to deal with those things. So we're gonna have to come together as a community, organize ourselves, and instead of duplicating services, let's look at different services that each one of us can take a different service and provide that, instead of all of us addressing one issue for everybody. I think it's more, it would be more helpful to people to go to one place to pick up their food, to go to one place to pick up help for utilities, to go to another place if they need gas, or if they need help replacing their refrigerators. I don't think we can go out and purchase refrigerators. I wouldn't do that because people have different needs. I would fundraise to be able to help those people supplement the amount that they will pay for a refrigerator. It would entail a lot of work for people that are volunteering to run a program like that, because then people expect you to deliver their refrigerators, to set them up, and to be responsible for them. And I would say to the groups that are here, let's get together, let's say, okay, this is what we provide, and then give that information to the people. Because the people are going everywhere now, because people are saying they're giving this here, they're giving that there, you know, and it's creating a lot of chaos in the community. So I think that as an organizer, I would suggest that us, the organizations that are doing things, that we come together as a group, we plan how we're going to do this, because this is a long-term, it's not today for a couple of weeks, this is long-term. A lot of people are going to start feeling it like our hunters. We have a lot of outfitters in our community. They don't have access. A lot of them have already bought permits. A lot of them have already bought landowner permits. A lot of people have already collected money from their hunters. What are they going to do? They have to purchase licenses and they have to do all of that. Now they're not going to have access to the hunting grounds.
And ranchers.
Ranchers.
I think those are some people we really don't want to fall through the cracks because they're losing their leases
Yes.
for public lands to graze their cattle.
Yes.
And it would be nice to, I'm not a rancher, but I do really like to support the local ranching industry because I don't like to support the large scale
Yes.
ranching by buying their meat from Texas or California or something like that. And I think that they're some of the people that are really going to take a hit too because they're going to have to haul water, they're going to have to get hay.
Exactly. Another thing.
Anita, good morning.
How are you? Eric, how are you doing?
Bien,
I'm
gracias.
glad you're here.
Thank you. Has Game and Fish made any kind of announcement yet as far as them making modifications?
No.
They're a federal entity, they have to be responsive as well.
They have to, and my son is an outfitter, and I told him that he should try to organize something with the outfitters to try to get that addressed in the community. I also spoke to Joseph, your father, Joe, about organizing the farmers and how it affected their grazing and everything, and then bring USDA and FSA programs into the community. We shouldn't have to go out to them, they should be here. They should be out here helping us. There's going to be a lot of money available to our community if we act together, if we bring our resources together and we act together and we do the things that we want to do. There's a lot of people that you know, please go out to FEMA, sign up with FEMA. Whether they tell you you don't qualify or whatever, please do that, because it's important that we follow a process, because when we go to other entities for help, say, well, we went to these organizations and we asked for help and there isn't any help. And then if we do a lawsuit down the road on the lands that we lost and everything, a lot of the land to owners in the community was lost by backbreaks. I know our land was torched 3 days after the fire had already passed our area.
Yeah.
And then they came back and torched all our land. You know, so it takes our livelihood away. It takes a livelihood away from a lot of farmers, a lot of ranchers in the community. So a lot of things we also do in this community is we have farmers that sell their produce, you know, that are growing organic products in the community. They can't do that now because we don't know what's in the air, what's in our ground because of the retardants that were sprayed. Also, we have grass-fed beef, people that grow grass-fed beef that is worth quite a bit of money rather than taking our food to the auction. So I think that we have to think about all of these things and then act properly, bring in the right people to talk to us. And if they can't help us, then we go to the governor and say, we're in a disaster, you need to help us. There's a lot of money out there, so.
Yeah, I think many people in the community still is like awakening of this tragedy, but we know that FEMA and all that organizations will be here forever. Like you say, we need to be proactive, and that we are together in this, and we can save ourselves. We cannot wait for other people, and have a good organizations of this kind of help and needs. We will be helpful for the community.
And I also feel that our commissioners, our public officials need to work with the community. They need to help us bring in resources. If we need people to help us to go out and talk to these organizations, people that have the expertise to do that, and also to help us fundraise. Because we're not talking about a few $1,000s, like a $10,000 foundation grant that people give us. We're talking about a lot more money that's needed for our community. And we ask that you as commissioners, please support the community, support their organizations that are here, because we're the ones that step up to the plate when we have to. You know, we're the ones that are going to be here for the people forever. We're not going to leave. We're going to be here. We're going to be working in our communities. And we're going to have people from the outside that are going to come and they're going to say, we're going to help you. They'll be here until they can get the money that they need to get paid, and then they're going to leave. We're here for the long haul. So we need to be supported as organizations. I volunteer. You know, I volunteer in this community. All the people that helped me fundraise for this initiative, they all volunteered. We got donations from people that don't even know our community, they called from Washington, from Oklahoma, people that I have met through the years, and they helped us through a GoFundMe fund. We're also, Intel is very gracious and is helping us fundraise. My son-in-law works there, he got me the connections and stuff. That can be a long-term funding source for us as well, so.
Yeah, thank you, Anita.
And I know Joseph, Ruthann, you guys have been working very hard with the food, distributing food in the community. And I know that it takes time and effort and also getting volunteers to help. You know, we've been doing what we can through our organization. Help has their offices here. We've been inundated with people looking for help, and we're supporting them as well. And so let's support each other, and let's move forward. And this is going to be a long-term thing. It's not just today or tomorrow, like I said. And Eric from Highlands University has offered to help us through the Tierras y Montes in the Forest Service, right? To do
Buenos días, Eric Romero, asesores. One of my partners, Shane Flores, is with us here. I've had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Laran and Nancy as well. Kind of the idea that I want to reiterate just one of the comments. One, the kind of amount of resource that may be coming into place. There may be immediate monies, but I think everybody shares that concern of making it long-term, because you're speaking about not only a restoration process, but utilizing it to restructure your economic and your community development. Community development precedes economic development. Community development is about people coming together, sharing ideas, communicating well. and recognizing that all shareholders have something to say. Economic development usually only benefits a few. And we know that happens often in our rural communities, etc. So just a point of warning that there's an idea of what's called disaster capitalism. And it's like the windshield repair people that come in after the hailstorm. They make their money, they make a lot of money, and then they're gone. They're not in for the long term, and they help out on a short-term basis. But I think, this is a wonderful opportunity for your leadership, your community, to really come together and think about what do we need to do for a long-term plan rather than just immediate. At the same time, it requires patience. People need immediate help, even if it's just water to drink. You have to take care of those needs first of all, but utilizing your different resources to come together so you have those communications taking place. So that way, again, it's a long-term planning project that respects all people. Now I'm here, I'm representing some of the Department of Forestry and Natural Resources, so I can speak to islands on one area. One of the other areas is Shane Flores works with a project called Manito's Digital Archives. And we want to look at that as also a venue to help people to tell their stories and to get it on tape, to digitize it. So again, that for many of it, that serves as an affidavit rather than signing paper to say, my shed burnt or my 300 acres of this burnt, getting it down in the digital format as well so it counts in an affidavit in a process. It's hard to say if you need civil action suits or what's going to take place if the federal government and the other entities of government do not step up with accountability for what they should do, because this is a national issue. It was caused by a national entity. It's not a local issue. They have to step up. But you need some sharp people to be able to recognize, where those are. You're already in communication with your state representatives and your congressional delegation. They know what's going on, but they don't know the detail, and that detail is going to be a lot of work. So we're hoping that we can maybe help out with detailing some of that information.
If I can elaborate a little bit on what Dr. Romero is saying in regards to this cultural aspect and why it's important to the economic aspect of this is, really looking at, especially in the context of the disaster capitalism that Dr. Romero speaks about and stuff, is what we know already is that our value system and things that are important to us in our cultura are invisible. They're invisible to the system that's going to make judgments about what's valuable in this recovery process. And so in saving stories and saving the voices and the perspectives of how we look at what we lost and what can be recovered and things like that, whether it's acequias or certain structures that wouldn't fall as valuable under the context of their value system, that we can render those invisible things visible. And so like this affidavit that Dr. Romero is talking about. So I know it might not seem important to start looking at those stories and collecting the stories in the context of more immediate and urgent things, and want to be respectful of that. Like, yes, it's still secondary to the immediate things, but being able to it's here to offer something, offer training, access to equipment, things like that, because in collecting the stories, not only I hope that there's an opportunity to start to heal by telling the stories, but that there's going to be a practical application at some point to say, this is the thing we're saving, and it doesn't fit in your spreadsheets and it doesn't fit in your forms, and but that might be effective when talking to the governor or something. So I just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit about why that aspect of the cultural thing with the Manitos project and its archiving things might serve as a function. So thanks for letting me talk and
Thank you.
introducing myself. Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for inviting me to be here as well. And I appreciate everything everybody has done. Everyone has stepped up to help. Anita Lagan and Flag Divisions and your entities helping Mexico. Joseph and Ruthann with Head Start and Main Street, they've been doing an amazing job of taking care of our people, and those were the immediate needs that we needed, and our people came back and they all survived. And I'm so grateful for that. We took care of our people, and what we need to do is make sure we preserve our culture. Our land has taken a hit, and our economy has taken a hit, our livelihood has taken a hit. But we have some very imminent and immediate dangers that I want you to know that we are meeting on this daily, all day long. As a matter of fact, we have had some very scary meetings, I guess, to say the least. But I'm going to tell you who has already stepped up to the table. We met with them yesterday, and there's as government goes, you all know it's a process and it takes time, and I wish we had these teams here 2 weeks ago, but it looks like some papers are getting signed and processes are taking place, and we'll be on the ground working diligently on this by next week. But I'll tell you, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is here. NEMO, which is a National Incident Management Office, they're here, and they're providing a lot of critical services. Department of Homeland Security, Forestry Division, floodplain people are here. We've gone up and we've assessed the areas that have been hit the hardest, which are probably the most critical because it's our watersheds, and we are coming up with at least 3 different ways of communicating to the people, because we're not going to be able to evacuate people when the storms come. An inch of water, an inch of rain that hits us in a short period of time is going to create 10 to 20 feet of water in those areas. Rio de la Casa, they're not going to have a chance. Once it hits that red line, all they can do is run alarms, activate cell phone emergencies, and try to call people, but we're going to use the 3 different systems that we can and activate the notices as far as we can. What we need for people to do is run to the highest point. They're not going to have a chance to drive out of there. Nobody can travel faster than water. And the monsoon seasons are coming soon, and we need to address this quickly. That is probably our most critical responsibility right now. And if it doesn't, we're hoping that we just get drizzles throughout the year. That won't be so bad, but if we get a heavy rainstorm or hailstorm, it's going to be critical, not only for the valleys that are going to be affected, like Rio de la Casa, Murphy Canyon, Chalcoan, Guadalupe, Mazahuitas, the Cebollita area, and then that water has to go somewhere. And it's all going to come down to Mora. It's going to come down into, there's 2 rivers that go into the Watros area. They're going to be hit. And it's this hydrologist, they're developing a map right now where we've ordered thousands of sandbags and wattles and Jersey barriers, and we have a lot of experts, because none of us are experts in that. We have a lot of people that can help and address those situations, but monsoon season is just around the corner, and I don't know what's going to happen, but we need to prepare for the worst, and we're going to make sure that we have a notification system that can help keep everyone safe, because from what we've seen in New Mexico, there have been tragedies after a firestorm, and we want to mitigate that as much as possible. We can't stop the storms, but we can try to slow down the runoff. So we're going to work with all the experts that we have.
I have a big concern for our water system in Guadalupe, because the mountain right next to it is completely charged. So I know that if we get any rain, it'll all go to our well system. Is there any barriers that we can get up there?
They're addressing all of them,
All of them,
and they're identifying all of the runoff areas. And like I said, the thing is that we not only have.
It's a resource center.
Well, this fire affected the most critical part of Mora County. We also have the Cooks Peak fire that we have to work with. But it's really serious, people, and we need to heed the warnings, and we need to prepare for it. So we're asking all of the property owners that own property, mountain property, if they would cooperate. NRCS and Mora County and Water and Soil Conservation have all partnered up to address this, and all we need are property owners to cooperate with that. And then as soon as we get through the monsoon season, then we'll start with the rehab, reforestation, and reseeding. This threat can continue for 3 to 4 years. depending on how fast the vegetation grows and whatever, highlands and those experts can do for us. But we're working diligently and trying to address this and trying to mitigate the damage it will do, because that's going to be a separate disaster. We can't tag off of the fire disaster, so we'll have to declare another disaster that happens. And I know there's a lot of homes that were lost that are right in the floodplain, and I know people want to come back home, but we need to figure out how we're going to create another location for those people that have been displaced in a safer place. If we could get them up to higher ground or in a place where they can be safe, because if you're in a flood zone, you don't want to sleep in that area. There's a storm coming. So we need to be cognizant of the weather reports, and we need to make sure that we're all cooperating with each other so that we not only save the land up there, but that we save the people from there on down. And it's so sad to see, but Mora County is in a flood zone, the majority of it, so.
I have a question, because I've been talking with a lot of people, and an idea that is out there, which is how to provide housing for people so that they don't have to leave the region, so they can stay and work on their properties and stuff, even if their house is either burned or now, like you say, are going to be in the floodplain. In your conversations, has FEMA or anybody else, do they have an avenue for a solution where there can be housing provided so that when the monsoons are coming, the people that are wanting to stay and work in their houses have a place to go where they don't have to scramble for hotel rooms or leave the state or anything? Is there an avenue for this type of housing solution so that people can stay in the community even if they're displaced from their homes?
Well, we are trying to work on that, but the thing is that the infrastructure isn't always there. If they lived in a floodplain area, their wells and their septic tanks were down there. Now we have to help them create the infrastructure at a higher level. And we've even talked about Las Vegas. The shelter at middle school is probably going to be one of the first areas that gets flooded, because they have the Gallinas watershed too to deal with, and they're gonna, people have to run within minutes. When they hear that alarm, they only have minutes to get away from it, because water travels very fast. And I don't mean to alarm, well, I do mean to alarm people, but they tell us don't
Catastrophize. You're
yeah.
not catastrophizing.
It's
You're
just
actually-
something that's really serious, and people need to understand the severity of it, and people may not appreciate that we're making it sound so urgent, but it is. And so I think that is the first thing that we need to address, and have a way for people to survive. The difference about a flood and a fire is that it's going to happen within minutes. And the water's going to drain out within an hour, and people can probably go back home and their home is still safe.
Yeah.
Whereas a fire, we were evacuated for weeks up to a month, I think, for some people.
Yeah.
You have a question?
Can we have the map? That way the people can know where is the areas with more danger.
Yes, as a matter
no?
of fact, there's currently a map that identifies a flood zone, the floodplain